Hey, good evening, family. This is Kaya Dewan. I'm coming to you with a short, short class. First of all, I want to wish everyone well, and I will continue to have all of you, my brothers and sisters, in my blessings, and I will continue to pray for you always in love and with honesty and sincerity. So today, I wanted to talk to you about. Someone wrote me and they were sincerely wanted an answer to a question. And the question was, what is the role of a Gentile? This particular person was married uh, to a Caucasian before they came into the truth. Now, I know in Maccabees and uh, then other scriptures, I'm not going to it say depart from them and things like that. But it's a wisdom that comes with this as well, because we have to understand that uh, that that when Gentiles can also come into this truth, all they have to do is keep Yah's law, statutes, and commandments, and they can see the kingdom of heaven as well. But they have to keep Yah's law, statutes, and commandments. So the fact that we know that they can enter the kingdom meaning means that if you're married to one or before you came into the truth, now doing it after the fact, knowing that you're an Israelite and then marrying a Gentile, then of course, then there's problems with that because you're openly going into what he opposes. But if you're already married and you have children and this is and by a Gentile, and then to me, this is a more on a common sense line. And the Gentile is fully into the truth and believe in this truth. Then there's a difference because the Gentile also can see the kingdom of heaven if they follow the Yah's law, statutes, and commandments. Now, this is a big debate amongst a lot of Israelites. Now, and I do believe that if you follow Yah's law, statutes, and commandments, you can get in the kingdom. Now, so I just want to talk about that for this brief class in reference to that in the used scriptures. So first of all, the question is, what is the role of a Gentile according to scripture? Okay, so the first question you should ask, I would ask, what is a Gentile? Uh, so if you go to the blue letter, you can go to Helen, which is G1671, which is Gentile, which is a Greek either by nationality, rather a native of the mainland of the Greek island of colonies. In a wider sense, the name embraces all nations, not Jews, that made the language, customs, and learning of the Greeks their own. The primary reference to a difference of religion and worship. So Helen. And then the other word that you can go to is Goy. And Goy is H1471, which is nation or heathen or Gentiles. Nation or people, usually a non-Hebrewic people. So those are both words referencing nations and being a Gentile, being not from the Jews. But we understand that in the past, where the Hellenists also mean Greek, when you could be a Jew, but you didn't practice uh, your culture as being a Jew. So Hellen can also mean that. So what I'm trying to tell you is that first we must learn the definition of the Gentile. So first we're going to go with the definition not being a non-Jew. That's a Gentile. So when I reference it during this class, I'm speaking of of not being a Jew or goy. So 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 what do if you are a Gentile and you are sincere, if you are sincere about making it in the kingdom of heaven, and you want to know the role of the Gentile, this is what I'm going to explain to you. Okay. So what must you understand about who we are first? You must understand who we are. If you understand who we are, then that will give you a better understanding of what you have to do. Now, I give you a chance. So, for instance, Gentiles must understand that we are the true Jews. You must accept that. We, blacks, or what they call black, which I don't like the word black because I know the definition of it and why we were given that name. So, but I'm going to say so-called black was what we truly are brown. And they're not white. They are pale or peach or pink. But either way, that's a whole nother class. So I'm going to say so-called black. And again, I don't really like the word black. That's why I say so-called. So all of you will have a familiarity in when I'm speaking. So the first thing that Gentiles must understand about the so-called blacks, who are Yah's chosen people, is that we will receive the curses as well as the blessings and the rewards first. You know, that's how it works. That's why we went into the curses in Deuteronomy 28, because we were given the laws and they were not. So the fact that they were not given the laws, of course, and we were given the laws, of course we would be punished for breaking Yah's laws. And they will not be punished because they weren't given the laws. So to the Jew, and also we will be first in line to be rewarded by the Most High when we follow His laws, statutes, and commandments. That's also a given. So we will receive the punishments first and the rewards first. We receive the good and the bad for being obedient or not obedient. You know, in Romans 2 through 9, Romans chapter 2, verse 9. I'm going to give you an example. It says, tribulations and anguish upon every soul and man do of evil, of the Jew first, and also of the Gentile. So again, it's letting you know, to the Jew first. Tribulations, so meaning we're going to get our punishments and stuff first because we were given the law. Then Romans 2 and 10 will tell you, but glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile. So we will receive the punishment and the rewards first. So we have to understand that is the reason why we've been punished, and we've been in the four particular slaveries, from Babylon to the Assyrian, Grecian to Jerusalem, until today. We keep going into slavery from Egypt because we were disobedient, and because we were given these laws and we broke them, we have to pay, and we were punished. So we have to understand that the Gentiles were later grafted into the promise of the kingdom of Yah, but only if they keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They are still considered the unnatural branch. The Jews first, but we are the natural branches. But the Gentiles who follow Yah's law, statutes, and commandments can be grafted in, and that goes into Romans 11 and 16 through 11 and 21, which is I'm gonna repeat Romans 11 through 16 through 11 through 21. I'm gonna also add this on the bottom of my video. So if someone, all the verses that I refer to, okay. So Romans 11 and 16 say, "For the fruitful be holy, and the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being wild olive tree, worked, grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root, and the fatness of the olive tree. Meaning, they come into this truth, they follow Yah's law, statutes, commandments, they're going to be part of the blessings, But this is what they got to understand. Boast not against the branches. That means, but if thou hast boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. But the root thee. That would say then the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. So yeah, they didn't do the right thing, and we got in. Well, because we unbelief, they were broken off. Because of their unbelief, they were broken off. And thou standest by faith, but not high-minded, but fear. For if God spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spared not thee. So what he trying to say? You can't boast against the natural branches. You can't say, well, they failed, so now I'm taking over, and I'm all happy that now that they're miserable, they're going through hell, and they're on the bottom of the list. Oh, and I'm happy in that. The Gentiles must understand. They must understand that the world was made for the Israelites, for Yasriel. And they were meant to be a light and an example to the world. That's what they were meant. And the Gentiles were meant to follow the Israelites, the Yasriel, being an example in their life. But of course they failed. That's Deuteronomy 28. And they were given the curses. Now the scripture tells you how he feel about the other nations. And now some people would get upset and say, well, what I'm about to read is this is why I don't like the Bible, or this is why this, and this is why this. Everybody had their reasons, but it's scripture. So, for instance, I'm going to give you 2nd Esdras chapter 6, 53 through 54. Now, Esdras at this time was they were being ruled over by the Gentiles. Esdras was an Israelite, and he wasn't happy about it. So he was basically asking the Most High, we're special. Why we're special to you? Why are we on the bottom, and why are they ruling over? So I'm going to read it to you real quick. 2nd Esdras 6, chapter 6, 53 through 54. Now, a lot of Gentiles are not going to like what they hear, because I know that you all believe that Yah loves everybody. That's not necessarily true. That's not true. And Yah is always good. That's another. That's why the Bible tells you he's a terrible and loving God, Elohim. Because there's many times throughout Scripture where he showed that he could be terrible. It was terrible. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and you answer it honestly. When he flooded the earth and he killed millions and millions, was that good or was that terrible? During the time of Noah. When he put the 10 plagues on the Egyptians, was that good or was that terrible? When he took the firstborn of all the Egyptians, was that good or was that terrible? When he took the children into the promised land, and when Joseph took the children into the promised land, and they killed many children and women during the wars, and they were told to do so, was that good or was that terrible? Now, being real with Scripture, you have to accept Scripture for what it is. He could be a terrible and loving God. That's why he tells you in Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 to fear him and keep the commandments, because he's worthy to be feared. He has killed some for less. In Kings, he killed a prophet because he ate on a journey. He was told not to. He had to kill children because they laughed at his prophet. Terrible and loving Elohim. Both. But he's not all good. Not in what humans would consider good, because it's beyond our understanding of how he thinks. But we have to remember one thing, that he created us. He made us. We are his. In essence, he can do what he wants with us. So when we get high and mighty and we start thinking, that he should do this and he should do that, and why ain't he doing this and why ain't he doing that, we got to remember one thing. He is our creator. Just like if you make a painting, or you make 3 paintings, and you took one of the paintings and you threw it in the trash and you burned it, no one will say no, nothing's wrong with that. You created that painting. You made that painting. You took one of the paintings and you hanged it up in a beautiful gold frame and you admired it, Israel, and you treated it special. No one will complain that you took one painting, you threw it in the trash, and the other painting you didn't care much for. No one would care. Why? Because you created it. If you start to think on that level that he is the creator, that he created all things, and he can get whatever he wants, whatever value he wants, because he created it, then you get a better understanding. But I'm going to keep on going. In 2nd Esdras 6:53 to 54, you just got to understand this. I'm going to read it to you. 53 through 58. I stand correct. 2nd Esdras 6th chapter, 53 through 58. And it says this: up on the 6th day, the gravest commandments up on the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creepy things. Now it's going into how the Most High is talking about what Adam created. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So he's saying, of whom Adam made everybody. Everybody comes from Adam. That's what he's saying, including those that he chosen, which is the Israelite, the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he's saying Adam created everyone. So if someone say we all come from Adam, they are absolutely correct. All these I have spoken before thee, O Lord, because thee madest the world for our sake. So Esdras recognizing that Christ made, that Yahweh made the world for the Israelite sakes, to be a light, a beacon unto the world, to lead this world and to keep them, to be an example, so that they may also follow the law, statutes, and commandments. But he goes on off to say, verse 56, as for the other people, he's talking about the Gentiles now, which also come from Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So he said, the Most High said, and this is a hard one for them to accept, that he looked at them as nothing. As like a water that fall off, like if you're carrying a bucket of water and it splashes and water fall out of the bucket while you carried it. That's the value he gave them. Now, someone will argue, I can't accept that. But when you think about it, he's shown that in a lot of ways. When he took the children of Israel, it took the children into the promised land, his chosen ones. He had them kill the women, children, and even the cattle and everything else. He looked at them as nothing. But to place his chosen ones in their promised land, they were just obstacles in the way. Because he created everything. And he can value everything. It's how he wants to value it. That's what we have to remember. It's not an ego thing. It's just the truth. It's just a fact. If you created something, you can give it as much value as you want. I don't care if the other person value it more. You the one created it. You give it its real value. That's just fact. Like the Most High has favorites. He has a favorite bird. He has a favorite river, the Jordan. He has a favorite people, the Israelites. He has favorites. Jacob have I loved, Esau has I hated. So He's showing you that he has emotions. He has favorites. He like what he like. He don't like what he don't like. So I'm going to get back to what I was talking about. So, and second Esdras is basically telling you that, second Esdras is basically telling you that how he felt about the other nations. And throughout Scripture, throughout the whole Bible, it referenced that every time the Israelites went into battle, every time they were favored by the Most High, every time when you read throughout Scriptures, from Genesis to the end of the Bible, you're going to see they were his special people. And they were not treated the same. They weren't treated the same with favor, and they weren't treated the same with punishment. They tend to get the blunt of the punishment because they disobeyed. They were obedient to his laws because they were given the laws. So we got to understand, that the Most High has he has an order. He's the Elohim of order. He's always have been. And he will always be. Just like in a family, he has a head, a wife, and a son. He has order. He's always been about order. And we got to remember that, if you go to Isaiah 14:1, Isaiah 14:1 and 2, you can read, he said, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and I will yet choose Israel." This is in the end. He ain't gonna never forget us. We can get our whooping all day, but when you whoop your son, that don't mean you cast him out. You whoop your son. He endured his punishment. He followed the right thing to do, and you embrace him back again. That's what the Most High is going to do. That's what we're doing right now. We are waking up. We're getting our embracement back. That's what the 400 years are. We got our big whooping. So now we got to fall in line and keep these laws, statutes, commandments, and he's going to embrace us even more. So Isaiah 14:2, and the people shall, let me read back 14:1. "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, Gentiles, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." They're going to cleave to the Israelites because they're going to understand being in the kingdom is a wonderful thing. It's better than death, first of all. "And all the people shall take them and bring them to their places, and the houses of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and bondsmen. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." Who are oppressors? Let's be real. It's just not the Caucasian race. It's the Indians. It's all these nations who have confederated together against us. They are oppressors. They work and unify against us. So we got to understand as a people that the Gentiles, I'm talking to you Gentiles right now. This is what you got to understand. Don't boast against this people. Don't get glee in their tribulations. Don't. Seek the Most High and keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, and humble yourself. Because according to Scripture, you are going to serve the Israelites. Now, I know a lot of you sitting there right now say, "Oh, I never serve a black man. I'd rather die." And that's true, because you will. Because that's why the war is going to be raised against Yahweh Shai when he come back with the 144. What other reason why you think the nations will go to war with Yahweh Shai if he came back as a white man? If he came back as a white man, they would embrace him, bow down to him, and they'd be the happiest people in the world. They would not go against war against Yahweh Shai in 144. The only reason they would go to war, and all these nations would go to war, if he came back in his true form as a man of color, a black man, and 144 is black. Of course all the nations are going to wage war against them, because the idea of them serving the true Israelites and Christ, Yahweh Shai being a black man and David being a black man, what they were, it's beyond their imagination. That's something they cannot accept. They cannot humble themselves. They cannot humble themselves to accept that. And that is going to be their demise. Even though I'm telling them that right now. And he's going to know their hearts. So that is the problem. That is what the Gentiles are going to have to do. They're going to have to be able to humble themselves, to accept the hierarchy, because there's going to be a hierarchy. And the hierarchy is going to be Yahweh Shai, David the king, the 144, and the Israelites. And below them, they're going to be the servants and the Gentiles. It's a government with order. But the good news for the Gentiles, and this is good news, to serve in the kingdom, even as a bondman or a bondwoman, will be wonderful in the kingdom of heaven. You keep those laws, statutes, commandments, it be well worth it. You follow the Most High, you keep that Sabbath, you keep all of these days, you're going to go in the kingdom, and even though you may serve, you're going to serve with honor. You're going to serve with grace. And you're going to be serving the Most High's chosen. So in essence, you're serving the Most High. You serving Yahweh Shai. And they're going to treat you as such when you keep these laws, statutes, commandments. It will be a wonderful place. That's the good news. But you got to humble yourself. And this is going to be the hardest thing for the Gentiles to do. The idea of serving somebody like me. Being under my thumb. For life or death. Most will rather fight and die. And they will. You know, this is good news for the Gentiles. But honestly, this is even greater news for me. Being his chosen. But none of this is going to matter, even if you are Israelite, if you do not keep Yah's laws, statutes, and commandments. You must do that. Or you will not be in the kingdom neither. You're going to see the lake of fire with the Gentiles. That's your choice. Gentiles, you got a choice. Don't boast against the children, the chosen ones. Help them if you can. Be a light unto this world. The Most High is watching. You keep the law, statutes, commandments, and if you see an Israelite, a brother who's keeping Yah's law, statutes, commandments, look out for him. The Most High will barak you. He will bless you. All these things will help you. Don't boast against them. Don't think you're inferior over him. You're not. To the Jew first. Remember, we are the apple of his eye. Even though he punished us, just like you had a child, you may punish your child, but that child is still the apple of your eye. And when that child finishes that punishment, you're going to embrace that child with love and with care. That's just a fact. Well, our punishment's over. Now we just got to get it right. We got to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, come into his truth, embrace him, love him, serve him. This is what we must do. But everyone has a chance to get in the kingdom. It's your choice. And with that, I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, Salawam. May the Most High keep you, love you, barak you, both Gentile and Israelite. Keep Yah's laws, statutes, and commandments if you want to see the kingdom. That's all you have to remember. That's the key to getting the kingdom. Remember, the whole duty of man is to fear him, to fear Elohim, and keep his commandments. And with that, family, I love you, and I hope this message reached those who need it.